Okay guys, so replacing the lower seal here, which can all perish and deteriorate. I've got my seals up there on the top of that cabinet to go in. Also this rubber gasket seal, whatever it is, that runs all the way along here is also replaced. What do you got to do? So first off guys, you see over there, you've got the pillar that's in there. That pillar just levers off that way. There's a catch on it, so just be careful, but it will come off out from the top. And there's a little plastic thing that sits in the top of the seatbelt that you use to adjust the height, okay? And that's got to pop off the plastic thing. Then you take that entire plastic shield off. Then you take the seatbelt nut off here with I think a 17mm socket, I think. Don't quote me on those sizes. Then you take these two bolts here out of the slidey thing that goes up and down, and then you've got one bolt in there which is, I think you need a 9mm socket for, or 10mm socket. It's these bolts here. So you take that one out and then that one. Once you've taken those two bolts out, this bit of glass there and there will actually slide out. You have one more bolt in here. You need a torque piece for this little tiny screw that's on the inside. So you unscrew that from the inside. As that unscrews, the little black thing will start twisting as well. So you've got to kind of reach out on this side while you're screwing it on the inside. Bit fiddly. Take that bolt out first, then take that bottom one, leave that top one. But at that point, this is a single man job, guys. You don't need to worry too much about the glass. Get that bolt loose, and while you're doing that, have your one hand here holding the glass. It's not going to fall out. And then your other hand here just twisting this till that falls out. And then the glass will just come out, and then you can take it out, move it out of the way. If you dropped it, you'd have to be doing something very silly.
I'm clever, but my college is requiring improvements by Ofsted.
Here's Johnny.
I'm sure my GCSE grade will be downgraded. I need 5.
That's it. Then what I'm going to do now is heat up these with a heat gun or even a hairdryer, just to warm the adhesive up. Pry it all off. I'm going to take this seal fully out of the way. I'm going to rip that gasket out, bung the new gasket in, rip the new seal on, whack it all back together, and you're done again. I'll come back when I've finished. Perished. Ugh. Slime and gunk central. So I'm just going to go through. Just going to spend a few minutes degreasing and cleaning that a bit better. So I'll turn the camera off.
Just wanting doom and gloom. If you've got a good positive story to tell us, love to hear from you. 0345 6060973. Here's a bit of a downer from Luke. I'm a drummer. No idea when I'll be back working. No work since March the 16th. Not sure when we'll be back gigging. God help.
Yeah, 50 years. Between 35 and 50.
Grand, same age.
No. It's a difficult age because most people are raising families and take mortgages out, etc. So savings, is a kind of nice have. But I've been, obviously it's part of my job to try and encourage people to develop better habits. But it's interesting as well, as a client rang me in March to try and get redundancy cover.
Yeah.
I've never found a redundancy policy. It's not really what I do, but I managed to get it for him. And then the next day they pulled it. So he was lucky. It very expensive, but no other provider would offer redundancy cover. The similar thing happened back in the credit crunch when, no job was safe then. So it's just really interesting as to what we can do to try us going forward. And I think people did learn from the credit crunch.
Yeah.
I think UK, as a general rule, has paid down debt, but countries like America have kind of almost got back to pre-credit crunch level domestic debt, retail debt. I just don't know what it will take now to encourage savers, because obviously with interest rates being so poor, base rate now at 0.1, an historic low, the only alternative is the stock market, and that's not for everybody. So that's all I was ringing for.
No, I think a lot of people dabble, but this idea of savings and people who don't even have any sort of pension at all, that whole idea of you're always in debt, you've never paid off your mortgage, you owe money all your life. I think a lot of people, Natalie, are in that same boat. But it's so difficult, isn't it? It's so difficult to tell someone, as you say, between the ages of 35 and say 45, when that's probably certainly my most expensive time. Let me read out a couple of texts before the news. I was made redundant from a lovely contract catering job, says Alex in Watford. Monday to Friday, good pay. I found a new job almost immediately, although a big pay. Every single cloud. We're talking about losing your job, changing the way that you work. What have you done since? Have you worked since the lockdown? Have you been furloughed? Have you been told about what might happen to you after October the 31st?
Really?
03
You little swine.
60973. If you ring now,
Stay there.
you'll get through. You can tell.
From Luton has been arrested on suspicion of supplying the orange tablets which bear the likeness of the US president. And the weather, showery rain, which could be heavy and thundery in places, will move up from the south into the Midlands and Wales tonight, but the north should remain dry, a low of 11. This is LBC.
Hey Kate, where's the Titan?
I know, we were so looking forward to our trip before it got cancelled due to COVID, but at least we booked with Trailfinders. It was so much easier than stumbling around websites, and they offered me an immediate cash refund.
Did you take it?
No, we rebooked for a later date, taking up a bargain with little risk.
So you'll have that Titan soon then?
That's the plan.
Trailfinders, the travel experts you can trust. Let's go find your next holiday.
These birtherism, racist claims that she's not born in the United States, and it's really quite similar to what we saw in 2008 with the birtherism. Yes, 2006 with the birtherism comments around Barack Obama. I mean, it's just like the oldest trick in the book for Republicans, and especially for Donald Trump. So he is leaving that out there. He should say, no, she is eligible to be in the United States, and no, she's not born in a foreign country.
They were saying they were on student visas rather, but anyway, it's all semantics. And tell us, has the recent arguments publicly, has the president closed the gap on Joe Biden in the opinion polls or not?
No, not at all. He's still struggling in national polls and in individual polls that we see with him. I was just in Wisconsin for a few days for Vice News reporting there, and that was one of the states that Trump won in 2016, and he is struggling with now in 2020. So all of these attacks that he and the Trump campaign are trying on Kamala Harris and on Joe Biden do not seem to be working right now.
Okay guys, so I finished. The new seals are on. They're all lined up perfectly. They feel great. They fit well. The inner seal's in, that's all back in. The bolts are all in. That's in. I've got to put the headliner in, so I'm not putting in that pillar, plastic pillar back in. It'd be easier to put the headliner in first and then the pillar once it's all retrimmed. This job has taken about 2 hours and it's been okay. The most annoying thing was getting off all of the old glue, and for that I used a hairdryer, which I don't think was that useful. Just better scraping the excess off with your thumb and then soaking it with TARDIS, and then just keep scraping it till it starts to break down. There's no pretty way. I'm not too worried about the finish under there because you're putting that back on top of it, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, job well done. Really pleased, didn't know what to expect. It's just nice that you can do that and get it done. So we have new vent seals. The bad news is I've got to go and do the other side now.